Welcome to a guide to applying to university. I'm Mr. Lanigan, and this guide is designed to help your young person in the application to university that they are planning to do next year. A modified version of this has already been delivered to your son or daughter on their induction day. And this guide is specifically tailored to how you can help them. This slide details the possible destinations that a young person can go to once they leave school. Every one of these options contains different entry requirements. For example, university will typically require at least 4 hires. Whereas going to a college for an HNC or HND will require between 1 and 3 hires. But another option that increasing numbers of young people are considering are graduate apprenticeships, and these are applied to directly with specific companies, and you will complete a university degree while working for that company and being paid. So it has the advantage of giving you lots of work experience, allowing you to earn money and therefore not come out with a substantial debt at the end of your student life, and also to have a degree at the end of it. The disadvantage, of course, is that if you do a graduate apprenticeship, you don't get the full-on student experience. So throughout all this, it's really important that you talk to your young person and make sure that they are making the decision that is right for them. So I'll now take you through the stages of applying to university. And the first stage, of course, is making that decision about should I apply. Now, you can apply in S5 or S6, but it's important to note that the vast majority of students entering undergraduate courses have completed 6 years at high school. And in making this decision, it's really important that you research university websites, paying careful attention to entry requirements, and I'll show you an example of one of them in a minute. It's also useful to go onto the UCAS website, and it has lots of useful guides, and particularly in the Discovery site, it has questionnaires that will help young people decide, what might they be good at, what should they study at university, and it also has undergraduate guides to cities and that kind of thing. It's important to note that a minimum of 4 hires is required by the end of S6, but the reality is that many courses require more than 4 hires, particularly if you're applying from S6. Young people must ask themselves, can I commit to at least 3 more years of study? And of course, much longer if it's something like medicine that they're applying to. And that they must take advice from as many people as possible. So that's teachers, obviously family, and Gail Connolly, who is our careers officer, who all of these people will be able to give valuable advice, because an informed decision is vitally important at the end of the process. So the next stage comes after the SQA results are out. And once that happens in August, the path to higher education should be clearer. It should be clearer whether it's a realistic option or whether you need to think of something alternative. So when it gets to August, you should review what you need to achieve from the coming year to get into your chosen course, and first and foremost, discuss with your relevant year head whether you've got your subject choices right. Now, every year come August, we will make several changes to pupils' subject choices, depending A, on results, and B, some decisions that they might have made about courses that they want to apply for. So, for example, if someone suddenly decides that over the summer that they want to apply for a paramedics course, but they discover that they require a science at higher level to do that, then they may need to revise the subjects that they have on their timetable. It's always important to remember that the hires are the qualifications that will gain people entry into university courses, and that's almost all courses. There are a few courses that will specify advanced hires, but very few of them have a requirement for advanced hire to be part of the entry requirements. So once results are out, young people should update their research on courses that are available, what the entry requirements are, and compare them to what they already have. And I think at a basic level, if you're staying to the end of 6th year, you should aim to have at least 5 hires by this stage, because that is what many courses are wanting if you're leaving from S6 to go to university. So this slide gives an example of a screen taken from Strathclyde University civil engineering page. So once you've Googled a course that you might fancy studying, it will give you a selection of universities that are offering that course. And once you've got a description of the course on the page, down near the bottom it will give you the entry requirements. So in this case you can see 2 sets of entry requirements. The first one before the dash is if you're entering from 5th year, and the one after the dash is from 6th year. So you'll notice that the entry requirements for civil engineering is 4 A's if you're leaving from 5th year, or 3 A's and 2 B's from 6th year. And you'll notice also that it requires specific subjects detailed underneath it. You've then got something called minimum entry requirements underneath, and that is about adjusted entry requirements. I'll talk a wee bit more about them later on, but it may well be relevant to your young person. Moving on to stage 3, and this is starting the application. So this is after you've made some decisions about the types of course that you want to apply for. And if you're applying to university, you'll start your application almost immediately you return to school in August of 6th year. You can apply to up to 5 different university courses on the one application. So it is a single application to the UCAS site, but you can apply for up to 5 different courses. There should always be at least one security choice. So what we mean by that is a choice that you think is safely achievable by the end of 6th year. And once you've started your application on the UCAS site, your young person will join the Clyde Valley application group, which is protected. Only I can see it, and any nominated managers of the Clyde Valley UCAS site will be able to see it. So it'll allow me and relevant pupil support teachers to monitor and therefore support the progress of all the applications. So all of that will really kick off come August and early September. Now the next stage of the process is where we give intensive support to your application, to your young person's application. And that's through inputs from a variety of sources. First of all, we will be booked in to go to the UCAS exhibition, which takes place this year in September. And it's a forum for all universities to come together and present to young people and answer questions from young people about courses that are available. There are also a series of open days throughout September and October, and we encourage young people to take advantage of as many of them as possible. I will create a UCAS team, and I will publicise things like open days on that team, so your young person should keep an eye on that. I will also work regularly with the UCAS group during their PHSE period. It may not be every week, but I will keep regular touch with them all to make sure that their application is progressing properly. Now, most of the application is really pretty straightforward. It's done online, and the bulk of it is just sharing information about yourself and your qualifications and the subjects that you're sitting over the coming year. But two elements require more work. One is the course choices that you're going to make, and the personal statement that can be a huge influence on whether a university gives you an offer or not. Now, the UCAS site has lots of support for things like the personal statement. There will also be given support from me and from pupil support teachers and from referees. So the referee is someone that the applicant has picked themselves. It's usually a member of staff who they feel they have a good relationship with and who knows them well. And the referee's role is to write a reference which will help the young person to get into university. They will also read over their personal statement and help them with that. But your role as parents is also huge in this. Personal statements can quite often miss out obvious things that if you're reading them, you will mention to your son or daughter, well, wait a minute, why don't you mention this? Or you did this in the past, or you're really good at that. And it's really important to remember that no one knows them better than you. So this is one of the main areas that you can offer support and advice. Another level of support is offered by an organisation called Focus West that we work with. And Focus West is based at Glasgow University, and it's about widening access to university, particularly in areas of the country that don't traditionally have lots of applicants to university. So Focus West splits up into different support networks depending on what you're applying for, and some of them are on this screen here. Some of your young people will already have been working with Focus West, but in the year that they're applying to university, every one of the young people at Clyde Valley will qualify for some support from Focus West. So there are two levels to it. You've got universal level, where all Clyde Valley pupils will get one-to-one sessions about their personal statement, and they will also get a one-to-one session at the beginning of the process in June, when they're making their first choices about university. Are they going to go? What courses are they going to study? And this advice comes from ex-students of Glasgow University who now work with the entries office. And then there's an intensive support that's offered if you fit certain criteria, and you can complete one of the courses above, either Access, Reach or Top Up. And I'll say more about the criteria required to qualify for the more intensive support from Focus West. If you do qualify, it leads to adjusted entry requirements. In other words, whatever the university website will say about the entry requirements, they will be adjusted probably slightly down the way if you qualify under certain criteria, as I'll detail in the next slide. So this slide details how you qualify for the intensive support from Focus West. So the criteria for involvement is predominantly based on what's known as our SIMD. Now, SIMD stands for the Scottish Index of Multiple Deprivation, and it's an official tool that the government uses to kind of divide the country into areas of wealth and deprivation. So the country is split into 10 deciles, and deciles 1 to 4 are in the most deprived areas. And it's determined through postcode. So the area that Clyde Valley is situated in, the vast majority of households are in SIMD 1 to 4. And then there's other criteria that would allow you to qualify for intensive support for Focus West. So what that means is if you do qualify under these criteria, you might complete the top-up course, for example. And if you do that, then that would allow you adjusted entry requirements to any course in any university in the west of Scotland. So if the course said that you're required to have 2 A's and 4 B's by the end of 6th year in your hires, the adjusted entry requirements might be 1 A and 5 B's. So that's just a rough example of how it's advantageous to be involved with Focus West. So this final slide details some key dates for your diaries. The first one is only really relevant to anyone applying to the Royal Conservatoire for music courses, and it's a very early deadline. But the second one may well be relevant to more people, anyone applying for courses in medicine or dentistry or veterinary surgery, or to Oxbridge universities. Their application has to be completed by the 15th of October. So that will be my first priority when we come back in August. The main deadline for most applicants is the 29th of January in 2025. And this is when all other applications must be sent off. Can I stress that every application is proofread from start to finish by me, and I send them all away. I press the send button for all of them. To finalise the application, an administrative fee has to be paid, which is in the region of £27. And that is something that has to be done before I can actually send anything away. Now, immediately after the application has gone, offers will start to come in, and that can happen from February right through to May. And at that point, every young person who has applied will have a decision to make. Sometimes the offers will be unconditional, meaning that they already have the exam results required, but most will be conditional, and it will be conditional on their exam results that year. And it's really important to stress that that young people must continue to push on and get the maximum qualifications they can in school, because universities do not want to see pupils who have kind of taken the foot off the gas in their last year at school. And so that's a quick run through of the process. If you have direct questions relating to your young person and their application to university, then please don't hesitate to contact the school to speak to either their pupil support teacher or me. I will be more than happy to give you any advice that I possibly can. But remember the importance of your role within this. Your young person will look to you for advice. You know them better than anyone, and your advice will be incredibly valuable to them in this incredibly important transition point in their lives. Thank you.